Welcome to your very own deep dive.
Oh, I like that.
Right.
It's catchy.
Today we're diving into something that's been around for centuries, the gathering of Israel.
Yeah.
We're going beyond just like the surface level, though.
Okay.
We're going deep, drawing from Elder Quentin Cook's talk, Safely Gathered Home, to really unpack what this whole idea really means.
Okay. Sounds good.
And trust me, it's a lot more relevant than you might think.
I think people might be surprised.
Right.
Yeah.
So to kick things off, what are we even talking about when we say gathering of Israel?
Yeah, it's a fascinating concept, really.
Okay.
It stretches way beyond just like physical borders and stuff.
Right. It's not just like, everybody pack your bags, we're going to.
Exactly. And we often think of gathering as like this physical thing,
Right.
But in this context, it's like it takes on a much deeper meaning.
More symbolic.
Way more symbolic, yeah.
So paint a picture for us. What's the gist?
Okay, so imagine like a global family reunion, right?
Okay.
But instead of it being all about like who's related to who by blood, it's about joining this community.
Yeah.
This community united by belief and like a shared spiritual heritage.
I like that. It's like a spiritual family reunion.
Exactly. And Elder Cook, he really emphasizes that this gathering, it all centers around joining what he calls the true church.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Before we go any further, what does true church even mean in this context?
Right. Good point. Because we're throwing around some terms here.
Exactly. And I want to make sure everybody's on the same page.
Absolutely, yeah. From Elder Cook's perspective, it's about aligning yourself with what he believes is the restored gospel of Jesus Christ.
Restored gospel. I feel like we'll be hearing that a lot today.
Oh, yeah, that's key to this whole thing.
So for those who are new to this idea, what was it restored from?
Oh, that's a great question. It's about retracing our steps, like going back to what Elder Cook believes is the most accurate, most authentic version of Christ's original church.
Okay, so going back to the beginning.
Yeah, like back to the source. He would say that over time, essential parts of Christ's teachings got lost or misinterpreted, and this restoration is all about bringing those back.
Gotcha. So it's less about creating something new and more like rediscovering something that was always there.
Exactly, like uncovering a hidden gem.
Okay, I think I'm starting to see the foundation here.
Yeah.
But to really wrap my head around it, I think we need some historical context.
Okay, I'm with you.
Elder Cook, he takes us way back, right?
Oh, yeah, way back.
To the scattering of Israel.
Exactly.
Now, this isn't just some ancient history lesson, though, right? This is like setting the stage for his whole message.
Absolutely. This is crucial. He talks about the 10 tribes, then the tribe of Judah being scattered. But here's the thing.
What's that?
He doesn't see them as like isolated events,
Okay.
These were pivotal chapters in this much larger story, a story that like continues today even.
Wow, that's...
Big.
It's giving epic family saga, but like spanning millennia.
Right, like talk about a long-running narrative.
And this is where Elder Cook connects it to the Book of Mormon, am I right?
You got it.
And just for those who are unfamiliar, the Book of Mormon, it's a book of scripture.
Yep.
Latter-day Saints, the tradition this talk comes from, they consider it sacred.
Alongside the Bible, yep.
Exactly. So how does it all tie in?
So the Book of Mormon, it tells this story of a group of Israelites who, like way back in the day, journeyed to the Americas.
Okay.
And we're talking centuries before European exploration.
Wow.
And according to their beliefs, they are part of those scattered tribes of Israel.
So it's showing just how far this whole gathering concept reaches.
Exactly. It's all interwoven, you see. It's global. And Elder Cook, he even talks about this girl from a Tahitian island.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
7th generation member of the church since like the 1840s.
It really hits home that this gathering that we're talking about, it's not confined to one place, one time. It's a global story.
A global story that is still being written.
It's still unfolding.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes it so relevant,
Right, because this isn't just ancient history.
Nope.
It's a living, breathing concept.
It's happening right now.
So let's fast forward from ancient Israel to today's world.
Okay, fast forwarding.
What does gathering even look like in the 21st century? Because it's not about physically gathering everyone to one location anymore, is it?
You're right. It's not about everyone packing up and moving to like some designated spot.
Right.
It's interesting, though, because Elder Cook emphasizes that in our modern world, gathering, it primarily revolves around religious conversion.
Okay.
Specifically, conversion to You guessed it. What he believes is the restored gospel of Jesus Christ.
And that's regardless of, like, your background.
Exactly. Lineage, background, it doesn't matter. It's about accepting those restored truths.
So it's about a personal transformation more than a physical relocation?
Exactly. It's an inward journey, you could say.
He even points to the, like, crazy growth of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints since the 1960s.
Right.
All those missionaries fanning out across the globe, new missions popping up left and right. He sees it as like a prime example of this gathering in action.
It's hard to argue with the numbers.
Right.
There's definitely been a surge.
But it's not always a straight shot up, right?
Yeah.
Because Elder Cook even acknowledges that. Like, remember the COVID-19 pandemic?
Oh, how could we forget? Those were interesting times.
Right.
Yeah.
And that definitely threw a wrench in traditional missionary work.
Yeah, it did. A lot of those face-to-face interactions, they weren't possible anymore.
Right. Everything kind of went virtual.
It was a whole new world.
And, you know, he points out how the pandemic, even though it was incredibly challenging and disruptive, it also forced people to think differently.
Adapt or get left behind.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a crash course in innovation for sure.
People had to find new ways to connect, to share their beliefs.
Right. Zoom calls, virtual meetings,
Yeah.
all that stuff that we're kind of used to now.
And it's interesting because those new methods, they've really shaped how this whole idea of gathering is unfolding, even today.
Almost like a new chapter was added to that ancient story. You know?
Right.
A chapter about resilience, adaptability.
It makes you realize even something as old as this concept of gathering, it can still evolve.
It has to stay relevant.
It's a testament to, like, how resilient faith and belief can be.
I like that. Resilience.
Even in the face of a global pandemic, who would have thought?
Right. Talk about a plot twist.
It's amazing how something as, like, disruptive as a global pandemic, it actually kind of forced people to adapt and change, even when it came to faith and this whole gathering thing.
Definitely shook things up, that's for sure.
Yeah, for real. But Elder Cook's message, it goes beyond just, you know, signing up at a church.
Oh, absolutely.
He challenges every single person to take an active role in this gathering.
He is all about action, you know? It's not enough to just sit back and believe. You got to live it.
Beacon light example. That phrase, it stuck with me. It's
Yeah.
powerful, right?
It's so vivid. Like, it's not enough to just, like, be a decent person.
Nope.
You have to radiate something.
Exactly. You got to have that something that draws people in.
Okay, but what does that even look like in real life, though?
$1 million question, right?
Seriously.
Well, Elder Cook, he'd probably say it's about letting your beliefs, like, actually show up in how you treat people, you know?
Okay, so actions speak louder than words kind of thing.
Exactly. He's talking about kindness, service, actually living by those principles of the restored gospel, like, every single day. He truly believes that when you're genuine, when you're trying to be the best you that you can be, you can't help but shine.
You become that beacon light.
Exactly. And that light, it draws people in.
It's less about, like, preaching and more about just being.
Living it out loud.
It's about being so genuinely good that people are like, wait a minute, what does that person have that I'm missing?
Right. Like, it makes them curious.
And Elder Cook, he's big on this idea of a ripple effect, you know? He believes that as more and more people embrace this whole beacon light thing,
Yeah.
it creates this environment, this welcoming, uplifting vibe that just naturally draws people toward the restored gospel.
Okay, so it's not about pressure or judgment.
No. It's about attraction.
It's about creating a space so compelling that people want to be a part of it.
100%. It's like you're setting the dinner table and people can't help but want to pull up a chair.
I like that. And you know what else really struck me? He doesn't shy away from talking about the blessings.
Oh, yeah, he goes there.
He's upfront about the joy, the peace, forgiveness, protection, even God's power sustaining you.
All those good things that everyone's looking for.
It's like he's saying, look, not only is sharing the gospel the right thing to do, but it'll make your own life way better.
Like enlightened self-interest.
Right. You're helping others, but it comes back to bless you tenfold.
And he doesn't stop there. He takes it a step further. He even talks about how this work that we do here,
Yeah.
it doesn't end when we die.
Oh, right. He talks about how, like, our efforts now, they actually prepare us to continue that work in the afterlife.
Exactly.
We get to keep sharing the gospel with those who didn't get the chance to hear it while they were alive.
It's like our mission continues even beyond this life.
Wow, that's a whole other layer to this gathering idea. It's not just about who's here now. It's about everyone, eventually.
It really makes you think about who gets counted as gathered in the end.
Right. If accepting the restored gospel is like the key to this whole thing, what happens to all the people who lived and died without ever even knowing about it?
That's a deep question, right?
It is. And it makes me wonder if that's where this idea of continuing missionary work after we die comes in.
Could be.
Like Elder Cook is implying that eventually everyone, everywhere will have the opportunity to hear about and choose to accept the restored gospel, even if it's not during their time on earth.
It's definitely a mind-bending concept. It raises all sorts of questions about free will in the afterlife and how it all works.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack there, and probably more than we can cover in one deep dive. But bringing it back down to earth for the folks listening, what would you say is the main thing Elder Cook wants us to take away?
He ends with a really strong message, urging everyone, no matter who you are or where you come from, to seriously think about your part in this whole gathering thing. He's not messing around. He truly believes it's an active commitment that should be a part of everything we do.
It's like he's saying this whole gathering thing, it's not some passive sit on the sidelines kind of deal.
Oh, not at all. He's calling for action. He wants people to really lean in, make it happen.
Yeah, and not just for themselves, but to actually be a force for good in the world.
Exactly. He's saying, look, you've got this light inside you.
Right.
Let it shine. Don't hide it. That's what it's all about.
That's so powerful. And it gets you thinking,
For sure.
like, what kind of legacy are we building?
Right.
And it's not just for us, right? It's for the people around us, for future generations.
Just like that saying, people might not remember exactly what you said or did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel.
Ooh, that's good.
Right.
And Elder Cook, he's basically saying that by, like, really living these principles of the restored gospel,
Yeah.
we can leave this, like, this legacy of light, hope, acceptance.
It's about making the world a better place, one interaction at a time.
And you know what? Even though he's coming at it from this specific perspective, this whole idea of being a force for good, that's something everyone can get behind.
Absolutely. It's universal. We all have the power to make a positive impact.
It's like, yeah, he's talking about the restored gospel, but it makes you stop and think, am I living in a way that draws people in?
Right. Am I the kind of person that others want to be around?
Exactly.
It's about recognizing that we're all connected and we all have a responsibility to lift each other up.
And that brings us back to Elder Cook's main message, right? That each of us, we all have a role to play in this grand scheme of things.
We're not just bystanders. We're active participants in this unfolding story. Whether we realize it or not, we're part of something much bigger than ourselves.
It's a beautiful thought, really, and I think it's the perfect note to end on. What role will you choose to play? How will you let your light shine?
Those are questions worth pondering.
They are. And that's what we do here at the Deep Dive. We spark those curious conversations. We get you thinking about things in new ways.
Exactly. Expanding perspectives, one deep dive at a time.
Well said. And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder the possibilities. Until next time, keep diving deep.
Keep those brain gears turning.